As the movie begins, a pregnant woman named Natalia is shown at the time of her delivery. Elena, Natalia's mother, is also present. Natalia's condition begins to cause her discomfort, and her mother takes her to the hospital immediately. Due to the late hour, most of the doctors are absent. However, a nurse treats her. Natalia gives birth to a child, and when they see the infant, they are all shocked and concerned because the baby begins to fly. Natalia is also astonished, and she informs her mother that an angel baby has been born in their home. Being knowledgeable and seasoned, Natalia's mother recognizes that he is not typical, and it is true as the baby was born without gravity. They are unprotected individuals, so they leave the hospital despite what the nurse says. It is not yet time for their discharge, but they ignore her. When they arrive at their home, Natalia's mother asks her a peculiar question. As she enters the house, she asks that they remember the child's guardian, but Natalia is unable to recall the child's guardian. Then her mother informs them that this child is not normal, and they must keep it a secret, otherwise, they could face many difficulties. They choose the child's name, which is Oscar. Oscar was an uncommon child because his fostering was not easy. He used to stick with the ceiling for a long time. As they left him alone, his grandmother made different straps for him to keep him on the ground. They also made the ceiling pulpy and feathery so the child would not get hurt because they were afraid he would fly into space if they left him alone. So, they were very careful about Oscar, and his mother and grandmother took care of him much. Oscar started growing with the passage of time but remained in the house. His grandmother did not allow him to go outside. He watched cartoons of Family Guy and imagined himself as a superhero because he could fly. Oscar asked his mother, Natalia, many times why they did not allow him to go outside, but they ignored him. Oscar saw people through the window, including kids like him who were on their way to school. He looked at the playing kids with longing eyes, longing for an independent life. He thought he might be imprisoned there forever. One day Oscar tried to escape through the window, irritated by the confinement of the house, but his grandmother got furious seeing him observing all the action. She sealed all the windows and guided Oscar that he would never go outside from the house like the school-going kids, and he would read while living at home. Hearing this, Oscar's mother got angry, and she said, "How long will we keep him in imprisonment? He will go outside at one time." Then Oscar's mother brought a jacket for him, keeping 2 stones in his pockets so that he may not fly. She took Oscar outside, ignoring her mother, and asked her not to tell the secret to anyone, like Superman. Otherwise, he would not be a Superman. Once, Oscar went with his mother for the purchasing of goods and collided with a child girl. That child girl's name was Agata Agatha. The goods fell from her hand, and she shouted at Oscar, handing him 2 water bottles. She said, "It is your punishment to leave these bottles at my house." But Oscar refused it. Eventually, Oscar agreed on the insistence of Agata, and he went with that child girl without telling his mother. Now, 2 heavy bottles were in the hands of Oscar, and stones were also in his pockets. As a result, he felt slightly overweight, so he dropped the 2 stones from his pocket. His friendship developed with Agata, and as they reached her home, Agata asked for the water bottles, but Oscar refused to return them because he knew that if he did, he would start flying in the air. As Agata took the water bottles from Oscar, he began to fly in the air. Fortunately, the area was confined, so Oscar didn't fly too high. Agata was left astonished by what she saw and called Oscar her Superman. While shouting, Oscar asks for help from Agata. Hearing his plea, Agata immediately goes into her house and brings her pink bag filled with stones. Their plan is successful, and Oscar descends. They become bosom friends, and Oscar asks Agata to promise him to keep it a secret. On the other side, Oscar's mother and grandmother are worried because of his disappearance, thinking he had flown in the air. His mother finds the stones that had fallen on the ground, which had been put in his pocket. Oscar returns home in halves with the bag given by Agata and tells his mother about her. She asks if he has told his secret to her, but he tells a lie, saying that he did not. Oscar and Agata continue to meet with each other for many days. Then, one day, Oscar's mother comes to know that Agata is aware of this secret. She forbids him from meeting Agata. After that day, Agata used to come to Oscar's house, but she was returned back at the doorstep by Natalia. They become suspicious in the eyes of the people in their surroundings because Oscar's mother and grandmother mistreat him. They do not allow him to come outside, and he does not go to school. They report the police about it, and the police arrive at their house the next day. warning them to send Oscar to school. Under pressure, they had to send Oscar to school. Oscar's mother goes to school with him, and they are certain that Oscar will never be able to live a normal life. As they bring Oscar, their eyes well up with tears. His mother understands everything and decides to leave the house. They begin to live in a distant location, abandoning their home. Many years have passed, and Oscar has matured. His mother has grown old, while his grandmother is no more. Oscar still has the bag given by Agata, and he never separated that bag from him. Even though he used to sleep with this bag, his way of living remained the same. Even today, he spends his life at home, consumed by secrecy. Oscar and his mother used to rely on each other, but Oscar became bored with his life and frustrated with the burden of his secret. He dreamed of becoming famous like his idol, Superman, and having books written about him. However, his mother did not share this desire, fearing the consequences of the world discovering their secret. Despite his impatience, he tried to be patient for the sake of his mother, until the day he impulsively left the house without telling her. He went to a magic show to display his talents for the first time, and it was a great success. His mother was there to witness it, but was helpless in the matter. The next day, Oscar meets a man named David who turns out to be an agent. He offers to support Oscar in becoming famous and arranges for him to live in a big house, but requires a contract agreement. Oscar desires fame and agrees to the terms, performing in a big show where he quickly becomes well known as the man without gravity. He becomes a popular attraction and earns a lot of money, but he realizes that he has become nothing more than a puppet for people's amusement. He becomes disenchanted with the constant media attention and being called to perform at various events. His childhood dream of being a superhero has been replaced by a reality he dislikes. Despite the many books, magazines, and documentaries that are made about him, Oscar dislikes the way his mother and grandmother are portrayed in them. At the last show, Oscar is dressed as an angel, which he hates. He becomes angry and begins to insult the people in the show. Oscar finally tells his mother that he has decided to leave fame behind and stop working. He tells his agent that he has had enough and wants to live a normal life. His agent warns him that he cannot simply leave fame behind, but Oscar is irritated by all of it. He asks his agent to tell people that the man without gravity has either passed away or flown away. He says goodbye to his mother and decides to live a separate life. News of the death of the man without gravity spreads quickly, and many people speak of him in different ways. Oscar's mother begins to live alone, and journalists continue to visit their home in search of information about Oscar, but she never reveals anything. After many years, Oscar's mother passes away, but Oscar is still alive. He has changed his identity, growing a long beard and using a wheelchair to hide his secret from the world. He works as a receptionist in a hotel and leads a quiet life. One day, he runs into his childhood friend Agata, who recognizes him by the pink bag he still carries with him. They catch up, and Oscar is happy to see an old friend who doesn't know about his secret past. He remained on the ground because of the bag and never got married. When Oscar meets Agata again, they both feel happy to see each other. However, Agata is dissatisfied with her life as she only cares about making money and has no conscience. She visits the hotel where Oscar works with many men, and this upsets Oscar greatly. He shares his feelings with Agata many times, but she has changed and ignores his words. Despite this, it is revealed that Oscar still has feelings for her. Agata's woes are the reason for her change in life, and Oscar decides to distance himself from her. After some time, they eventually reconcile with each other and get married. They share the same childhood home and start a new life together. The movie ends here. That's all for now. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notifications and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.